This is the review video for adding and subtracting mixed numbers. If you have not watched the original video on that skill, make sure you go back and do that right away. For everyone who is on the review video, we covered three main things in that video. The first one is what we did here on the right, which is reviewing turning in mixed number into an improper fraction and vice versa. In this case, to convert it to the improper fraction, we would just want to know how many total thirds do we have in this problem. And if we counted on the below picture, we have 5 thirds. The algorithm that you might have seen before is taking 1 times the denominator, 3, and then adding the leftover 2. 1 times 3 is 3, plus 2 is 5. Personally, I like the picture. I feel like it helps me not get the algorithm mixed up, but they are both correct. Then when we solved the problems, there were 2 different strategies that we used. The first one was converting everything to improper fractions right away and solving it with improper fractions. The other is to use borrowing or regrouping to try to subtract or add the whole numbers and the fractions separately. So we're going to do 2 more examples here. We're going to try to use both algorithms again. So we're going to start with the improper fraction algorithm. And we are going to convert both of these to improper fractions. 4 times 4 is 16, plus 3 is 19. 2 times 6 is 12, plus 5 is 17. And to get these 2 impropers, I think the best denominator is going to be 12, but there are lots of options. So 3 times 19 is 57 twelfths and 34 twelfths. And you can kind of already see one of the biggest difficulties with the improper fractions algorithm is the numbers get really tough to deal with. Okay, so now we need to figure out how many whole numbers we have. And so I'm going to skip count 12s. So that's 1 whole number, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 is too big. So that means we have 7 wholes, which is 84 twelfths. And we need to know the gap between 84 twelfths and 91 twelfths. That is 7 twelfths gap between them. So the improper fraction, you convert everything to improper fractions. You find a common denominator. You convert back to a mixed number at the end. And it does work. It frequently will just take quite a few steps. The regrouping method sometimes can be a little bit faster, but you have to be very careful to not mess up your problem. In this one, we try to find a common denominator right away, which we said was twelfths. So that would be 4 and 9 twelfths and 2 and 10 twelfths. From here, we just add the whole numbers together, which is 6. And we add the fractions together, which is 19 twelfths. The reason why it's called regrouping is because right now we have to regroup to get this in simplest form. So 19 twelfths can be split up into 1 whole and 7 twelfths left over. If we add the 6 and the 1 together, we get 7 and 7 twelfths. Once again, our algorithms should give us the same answer both ways. Make sure you check with your teacher on which of these strategies they want you to do. My students usually have to do both. Let's do one last problem here. So once again, we're going to do the improper fraction strategy on the left. So this time, I'm going to find a common denominator before I do the improper fractions. And I've decided that tenths is the one I want to go with. And I did that by multiplying by 5 and multiplying by 2 on the right side. Now to do improper fractions, I would do 6 times 10 is 60, plus an extra 5 is 65 tenths. Now on the left side, 2 times 10 is 20, plus 6 is 26 tenths. From here, I need to subtract 65 minus 26, which I'm going to do the long way. I need to borrow an extra 10 here, which gives me a 9 here in the ones column and a 3 in the tens column. So I end up getting 39 tenths. From here, I just need to convert to a mixed number. So I know that 10 tenths is 1 whole, 2 tenths is 2 whole, 20 tenths is 2 wholes, 30 tenths is 3 wholes, which should be the largest number. And the gap from 30 tenths to 39 tenths is an extra 9 tenths, which should be my answer. I want to also do the regrouping method. And like the original video, I'm just going to bring over the common denominator step because I did that with the mixed numbers. And once again, we have the same problem we had in the original video. You have to be very careful because if I did 5 minus 6 right now, I would get a negative number. And so I'm going to borrow an extra whole number here. So that turns to 5. I have to remember that a whole number is 10 tenths. So I add that to my 5 tenths and I get 15 tenths. That means that I can now subtract the whole numbers, which is 3, and I can subtract the fractions. 15 tenths minus 6 tenths is 9 tenths, and wouldn't you know it, we have 3 and 9 tenths for both answers because they are both mathematically correct. So we went through a couple examples together on adding and subtracting mixed numbers. I'll tell you right now, this is a very easy strategy to make small mistakes on. So be very, very careful. And please do not get frustrated if you make small mistakes. Messing up the end, converting from impropers to mixed numbers, things like that, that doesn't mean you don't understand fractions. It means that there are a lot of steps here and it's very easy to make those small mistakes. As always, if you have any questions, please let me know.